Inner Success Radio, episode number 4. Okay, and welcome to Inner Success Radio, your one-stop shop for inspiration and insights to help you reach your full potential. My name is Charles, and I am your host. And if you haven't yet, please find us on Facebook at Inner Success Radio, and also give us a rating on iTunes. That keeps us bringing you the content that we do. Today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Heidi Thompson. Heidi, welcome to Inner Success Radio.
Hello, Charles. It's great to be with you today.
Thank you so much. We're glad that you decided to join us today. Artist, author, and teacher Heidi Thompson lives in Coldstream, British Columbia. She had studied art in Europe, and when she returned home, she worked as a photographer, publisher, writer, teacher, and fine artist. Heidi has been practicing breath awareness in ancient Vipassana. Is that pronounced correctly?
It's Vipassana.
Vipassana, an ancient Vipassana meditation technique for more than 30 years. After experiencing many benefits, including better health, creativity, and happiness, she was inspired to help children. In 1996, she pioneered an intention development program called Mind Mastery and was one of the first to teach breath awareness to children in public schools in Canada. Heidi currently conducts breath awareness workshops and lectures and spends time painting and exhibiting internationally. Heidi has also spoken at TED on this very same subject. So, Heidi, with that brief introduction, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got introduced to breath awareness?
Yes, I'd love to share my journey. I started looking into meditation techniques when I was in my early 20s. I think we all go through a time in life where we do some inner searching. And I practiced several techniques which were, based in ancient Indian philosophies. There was Raja Yoga and various things. And I thought I benefited quite a bit from them, but there was something kind of missing. I was looking for something that really started to change me from the inside out. I wanted tangible results. When I was around 27, I went to my first Vipassana course. There are 10-day courses offered worldwide. They're free to the public, so anyone can go. And they teach you two techniques. One is breath awareness, which is also called Anapana. And the other is Vipassana. And they're both very connected. But you need to do breath awareness for 3 days out of the 10-day course to sharpen your mind and develop your focus and calm you down. And after I'd been practicing these techniques for about 15 years, that was in the 90s, I had a daughter and she started going to school. And it was in the 90s that the attention deficit problem started to become known around the world. There was actually a great surge in this awareness, and people started looking at their children differently. They thought that because they're hyperactive and they can't focus, that they must have some kind of problem. Now, after having practiced this technique for so many years, I realized that strong attention comes from exercising your attention, you're not born with a strong attention. And I couldn't understand why they were giving children these drugs that it helps them sharpen their mind, but artificially, and in fact over long term makes their attention less strong. And it was appalling to see that all over the world children were starting to take these drugs. And I wanted to protect my own child. So I thought, wow, why not use this ancient technique, breath awareness? It's so simple to help children develop their attention. And this sort of started me on this path of helping children and spreading the news that you do not need drugs to develop your attention. In fact, that's probably not a good way to go. And now I'm here speaking with you on the radio, continuing to spread this idea about breath awareness, this amazing technique.
And I like what you said, because a lot of times when people when you think about all the different diagnoses that the so-called psychology or the psychological people in those type of fields have given us, a lot of times it just comes down to wiring. And I know as far as the breath awareness technique, I've heard of it before, but never really delved into it. But I recently took an interest in neuroscience, and I know they talk about this breath awareness is where it has to do with the left frontal lobe and the right frontal lobe, and the people who actually do practice the breath awareness are more left frontal lobe dominant, and it's in that area of the brain where people are more calm and more focused. So maybe I guess you'll dive into that a little later on. But you wrote a book called Calm, Focus, Joy. What led you to writing your book?
After I had tried to give courses in schools in different areas, so I was traveling, giving courses in schools to teach children breath awareness, I realized that what teachers really needed and parents could use was an instruction book that first trained them on how to do breath awareness and then gave simple instructions on how to teach breath awareness to children, and also how to introduce it into the community or into the schools. Because I think that that's what's needed, is just if everyone could learn the technique and then be able to teach it to their children, it would spread much more quickly. I just felt just me alone going around doing this it was not even scratching the surface. So I wrote the book as a teaching guide for parents and teachers who want to learn the technique really well and then learn how to teach it to their children.
Oh, wow. Okay, perfect. Now, before we got on, Heidi, you said that you wanted to actually walk through this process with us. So before we get into the actual technique and how we can actually, for those of you listening, Heidi's going to walk us through instruction of how to do it right now. Can you kind of explain what breath awareness is, and how did you come across it? And then what makes it different from the traditional yoga breathing techniques? That's
a very good question. Yoga techniques are becoming more popular, and a lot of people are practicing pranayama. That's regulating your breath to give you more energy and develop parts of your brain. But breath awareness is not an exercise. It's not where you regulate your breathing. You do not breathe slower. You do not make quick breaths. You do not count your breath. So you're not regulating your breath. What you're doing with breath awareness, and this is what makes it different, is you're just observing your breath. You're practicing your observation skills. This is the key difference. So if your breath is shallow, you're just watching it. Oh, it's shallow. If you've been running before you sit down and do your exercise and your breath is sort of panting, you just observe it. The key is to observe your breath without reacting, without changing. And this exercise is very important to learn. And once you're practicing observation, you are developing those parts of your brain that are involved with basically observing, not reacting. And if you can practice non-reaction, you actually control your life. So this is key to this exercise. So the technique is to observe your breath and the feeling of your breath. This is the other difference. Many meditation techniques want you to visualize breath coming in your body, visualize it with light. Some techniques want you to visualize your breath going, into your lungs or your belly. There's no visualization in this technique. It's observing the sensation of breath. So you're not imagining, you're actually feeling. And this is the other key to the technique, to develop your ability to feel the sensations of the breath as it comes in and out of the nose and as it touches that small area just below the nostrils, sort of between your upper lip and your nostrils. So it's training your mind to focus on sensations that are very subtle. And yet we can go into all the things that will develop. But that is the key difference. Those two things, you're developing your awareness, you're watching your natural breathing, and you're developing your ability to feel sensations. And you'll see why later that is amazing in helping you overcome addictions and heal pain and all sorts of wonderful things. And
okay,
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and so Heidi, now how did you learn about this breathing technique, and what made you decide on, I guess, studying this one as opposed to all the other breathing techniques that are out there?
Well, I learned it at the Vipassana course, and anyone can go to one and learn this technique. And the reason I've stuck with it is because it works. Once you find something that works, you just keep working on it. There's no other reason for having practiced it for 30 years. I've seen results. I see results in even 15 minutes of practicing it. And I also see how it changes my whole life, my artwork, my relationships, my sense of self, and my health. And as long as it's working, I guess I'll continue it. If something better came along, I would be the first to jump for it.
Yeah, and they say the breath of life, but now we know that's actually a reality. There's a lot of benefits in the air that we're breathing in, and I think it's a matter of us knowing how to use that breath to bring about the results that we desire. All right, Heidi, so can you walk us through an actual breathing or a process of how we can implement it?
Good. The first thing to understand about breath awareness, it is the simplest technique I have ever come across. So it's so simple, some people might think, oh, how could that change anything? So first we'll realize it's simple. There's nothing complicated. And all you do to do it is you find a nice quiet spot where no one will disturb you. You sit up straight. You can be sitting on a chair or sitting on the floor. The key is that your spine is erect and you're not leaning back, and because you'll probably fall asleep. So you're sitting with a nice straight back and you're very calm. Then you can close your eyes, or if you don't want to close your eyes, you can look at a spot on the floor, or if you're in public doing it, you might just want to look down at your knees. You don't have to have your eyes closed, but if you're alone, you might like to. Then you focus your attention, and I always explain the attention like a spotlight. Most of the day, your attention is lighting up all your thoughts. So you're always thinking, imagining, and now you want to swing that spotlight of your attention to the one small area just below your nostrils. Be about a half an inch or a centimeter circle right below your nostrils. So maybe you're there right now. Your attention stays on that spot. It never moves. This is key. This is your exercise. And now you just breathe naturally and start feeling how the breath touches that spot. In the first few minutes, it might be really difficult to feel anything there. And if it's really difficult, you can bring your attention just inside your nostrils, inside your nose, until you can feel the cool air coming in or the warm air going out. And then you might feel stinging, tickling, itching. This is good. This is all you're needing to do, is feel those sensations. Once your mind is calmer, you'll be able to feel the very subtlest touch of breath as it moves in and out of your nose. The subtler the breath, the more hard it is to feel. The sharper your mind gets as it's trying to feel it. This is key. It's not a big sensation in your leg. That's easy to feel, but you're picking the breath because it's so subtle. And your mind is such an amazing instrument. It can become fine-tuned and sharp. And by focusing on something so subtle like that breath, your mind will become sharper and sharper. And there's good reasons to have a sharp mind, which we can talk about later. Now, the next thing that is very important in breath awareness is to choose how long you want to sit. I would say a beginner might want to set the clock for 10 minutes. And the key is not to get up, not to stop focusing on your breath for the full 10 minutes. The reason you start practicing to stick till the end is because at 9 minutes, this is what's going to happen. Your body is going to start feeling very uncomfortable. You're going to get itchy. Your mind is starting to think about all the things you have to do. And you're going to start doubting what you're doing. You're going to think, oh, this is nothing. I have work to do. I've got something more important. It is in that exact moment when breath awareness can help you progress the most. So you come back to your breath when you're getting all antsy. Stay focused, your mind will calm down, and what you're doing is starting to change the habit pattern of your mind at a very deep level. Because if you can stop reacting to all that uncomfortable feeling and wanting to get up and run away and turn on the TV, if you can stop and stay with your breath calmly, the next time in life when something's trying to distract you, you will have the power to stay focused. You will not be reacting to those unpleasant sensations. So you're training yourself to sit through unpleasant sensations with a very calm mind. You're not suppressing those sensations. You're just not reacting to them. And this is the practice of breath awareness. Once the 10 minutes is up, you're free. You can get up, you can do what you want. But what will start happening if you do this every day, I'll give you a little picture of how it works. If you've been practicing this exercise daily, then Saturday rolls around and maybe your child starts ranting and getting mad and calling you names. Normally you would react and say, be quiet, that's rude, that's disrespectful. This time, you'll notice instead of reacting right away, your attention will turn back to your breath. It'll feel those sensations in your body, and you won't react. Instead of reacting with anger to your child, you will be in control, and you will be able to make the right kind of choice in the words you use or your actions, and your child will say, oh, my parent is, wow, they're powerful, they're in control, I should respect them. It elicits in the person you're talking to respect because you're not reacting to those uncomfortable sensations in yourself. You're not out of control. So immediately, if you've been practicing this technique, those are the beginning results that you will notice in your daily life. And then you'll get really excited, and then you'll go from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, and eventually from 40 minutes to an hour. And if you can work up to an hour, you'll see amazing results. Every day, your life will be different if you can practice for an hour. Imagine getting up, going to work, dealing with the regular people around you. You will be exuding this calmness, this self-control, and you'll feel more loving. You'll feel empathy. You'll share the pain of those people who are reacting to you, and your peace will actually overflow and help them out. So it's sort of a win-win situation in the end.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And so how long does say for example, the people who are listening, they've never heard of this before, they've never done it before, and say if they were to start today consistently, starting with 10 minutes, how long usually does it take for them to start seeing the results?
10 minutes.
Oh, wow, okay.
You'll feel, if you can focus on your breathing without reacting to it for 10 minutes, you will notice a whole change. And these are the changes you'll start to notice. Your blood pressure will start dropping. Your heart rate will slow down. The cortisol, which is your stress hormone, will get reduced. So if you're under any kind of stress, practicing breath awareness reverses that cortisol. And once cortisol is out of your body and you're back to being normal, you will feel calmer. And it only takes a few minutes, and studies are showing this, for you to reverse the stress reaction in your body. It works very quickly, but it's for focusing for 10 minutes on the touch of breath will seem impossible at the beginning, but you just keep working at it. It's very hard even to focus for 30 seconds, but if you do, it's success. So, give yourself a pat on your back if you can focus for 30 seconds, but it's not easy.
Yes, wow. And this is not, I know a lot of the people listening may be into different religious faiths. This is not just to one religious faith. Anybody in any religion can practice this, or any spiritual faith. Yes,
and I went to the Vipassana courses, and yes, there's mention of Buddha, because Buddha had practiced this when he had discovered breath awareness when he was 5, and then when he was older, he used it to sharpen his mind. But breath awareness actually dates back 5,000 years to some old scriptures from India where they were practicing it. And my guess it's dated back even to, from the beginning of mankind, when they started realizing if they focus attention on their sensations, they actually start changing their sensations. Most mothers, without any knowledge of this technique, will teach their children it. For example, have you ever heard of a mother seeing their child fall down and the child's crying and rubbing its knee, and the mother says, "Oh, just focus on your breath. Just, that'll calm you down." Yes, it does immediately. So it is in us since the beginning. So it is a natural way to calm stress hormones.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's perfect. Now, can you kind of explain how watching your breath, you touched on this just a little bit, but how can it reduce stress, and also how does it improve your overall health and brain function?
Great. Okay. Now you understand from what I've described, how it works is you're sitting there, you're observing whatever sensation you're feeling. In breath awareness, you just focus on the sensations around your nose. But once you've trained your brain not to react to sensations, here's how it helps your health. Let's start with the stress hormone. As soon as you're not reacting mentally to fear or perceived threats, your brain has no reason to create cortisol, adrenaline, and the other stress hormones. It has no reason to run away from the situation or fight. As soon as the brain perceives there's no threat, it will calm down. So that's the first thing you'll notice, is your stress level lowers. Once your stress goes down, you probably have read and know, stress taxes your immune system. If anything's going to make you sick, it's stress. Because stress will reduce your immune system, and that leads to a host of flus and colds and even cancer and other diseases. So that's the second way it helps. It starts to boost your immune system. You give your body a chance to repair. Now, it helps with addictions. And this is very interesting. This is the most amazing thing about this technique. How it helps addictions. Imagine you like smoking cigarettes. Oh, I haven't done that, so I'm just guessing. You get this sensation inside your body. First, maybe you're irritated and frustrated, and your brain says, calm down. You have the habit of reaching for a cigarette to calm down. So you start smoking and you calm down, and your brain says, yes, what a great idea. I feel better now. This is good. And your brain will continue to tell you to smoke a cigarette to calm down. Your brain doesn't know it's not healthy for you. Only you know that. So you're in this habit of smoking for survival, for calming down. You know, from all our literature and medical reports, smoking isn't healthy. So how do you break the habit? Well, by doing breath awareness, you're sitting there, no matter how bad it is around you, you start feeling the same sensation. Oh, I feel so stressed. and feeling, oh, I need a cigarette, I need to calm down. But this time, you just sit there, you stay with those sensations, you don't reach for a cigarette, you go through the pain. It's not easy, but you go through it. It's like a withdrawal. And then something changes. You naturally reduce your stress, and as soon as you reduce your stress, those feelings of wanting a cigarette start to fade. Suddenly, the urge to smoke is gone. And if you don't have the urge, it's way easier not to smoke. So you're working at a subconscious level to stop the habit that you formed of reaching for a substance to calm down, whether it's alcohol or even harder drugs or chocolate or chips or whatever it is that you need to make yourself feel better. You don't need anymore. You go through the pain. It's not easy, but then afterwards you're free. And this breath awareness helps you become free from